Hi friends, strangers, internet. My name is EmilyHanhan. I love colorful makeup and colorful language. And today I am here to dupe the vibes. I'm also doing laundry, so you might hear that. You might hear kids in the background, not mine. It's a Sunday in my neighborhood and I'm just doing the things. Anyway, we are duping the vibes for the Glaminatrix Nocturnal palette. Now, Glaminatrix is an indie brand based out of Australia. I have not tried this brand. They have been on my wish list, on my longer term, to buy list for quite a while. And this palette is stunning. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It is a 12-pan palette. It is in packaging that is magnetic, so I can reuse the packaging to build color stories, and I can use the shadows as singles. It has 7 mattes and 5 shimmers. The shimmers look like duochromes, multichromes, like sparkly, shiny. They look fairly textural, like just all the good stuff. There's grungy greens and mustards for the mattes. There's a periwinkle and some turquoise, and then a matte black and a matte brown. It's a gorgeous palette. It really is. I'm also in a situation, though, where I don't have extra spending money at the moment. Now, this gorgeous palette goes on sale February 13th, but I believe it's a pre-order. Plus, if you are not based in Australia, I have heard shipping times can take a while, and with the state of, the pancetta and supply chain and all of that, who knows? There's details on their site, on their Instagram, I'm sure, but for now, I am not picking this palette up. So I thought, what better way to satiate the makeup goblin in me than dupe the vibes? And, in time, if I'm still wanting the palette after duping it out, it's a good sign. It's usually a better sign than just that initial gimme feeling. So I have some overhead style footage and we are going through picking out colors, and as what tends to be the pattern around these parts, I made my dupe of the palette following as best I could their swatches and their layout. And once I built that out and swatched that out, I decided to mess it all up. So you're going to see 2 versions. You're going to see a dupe and you're going to see my dupe. Does that make sense? And before I jump into the overhead footage, if you like colorful makeup, if you like bitches with lots of opinions, or you just like cute fat babes, I hope you will subscribe and follow along for more duping the vibes, indie makeup, dreaminess, and other fun stuff around these parts. Words are hard. A couple of quick notes about tools that you may or may not see during this video. I have a depotting spatula from Lethal Cosmetics that fits into the hold style palettes that Lethal and other brands make. I have another spatula that I think was the first edition of the Lethal spatula. And then I have a magnetic spatula that is from the Artistry Kit Company. But I've also heard that you can get magnetized pins or magnetic pickup tools like that mechanics might use or something to that effect, on the internet if you don't want to specifically pay for this guy. But I really enjoy using it. So that is what you may be seeing throughout the course of the video. This is my condensed Natasha Denona gold palette, and I've been trying to get more use out of these singles. So I'm going to grab the matte brown from here for this palette. So the palette has a matte black and a matte brown, which I picked out. Those were fairly easy to figure out. And then the other colors we're going to, pick through and look at. If we're moving kind of like right to left in the palette, the next color up is a mustard yellow matte and also a kind of like gold bronze pink shadow. So for mustard yellow mattes, I definitely have some from Lethal and from Menagerie. I have Dijon from the gold palette, and then I have a couple of other yellows over here. And the thing with the swatches is that I feel like I could easily go with a yellow, like a very golden yellow, like either of these, or something that has a little bit more of this browny tone in it. Had to reshift a little bit, but I feel like the Dijon color is actually my best choice. And again, this may just be my headspace of wanting to get more use out of this gold palette, but I'm gonna go with it. So the next color up is Constellation. I was not giving you names before. In the palette, the brown is Gloom, the black is Shadow, the mustard is Fog. Now, Constellation, some of the photos look like a gold, some of them look more bronze, some of them look more pink. The eye swatch looks kind of like a little bit of everything. It actually reads more gold in the eye swatch, I think. But the color that came into my mind that does all of those shifting kind of tones, and it's also a color that I really adore, is Vermilion from Glaminatrx, because it goes very pink, but it also goes gold, and I love working with it. And because it shifts like that, you also get the bronze. And if I were to get a palette with this color in it, I would just be so happy. So I'm kind of going with it, even if maybe it feels like an unconventional choice. I'm not really sure, but like, how can you say no to that? Okay. Now the next color up is a matte green that in some photos looks deeper and in other photos looks more like an acidic bright green. Two colors that popped right into my head were either Electric from Menagerie or Dirty Martini from Dandelion. I think I'm gonna go with Dirty Martini because it gives me bright, but it also gives me grungy. Electric is also grungy. I'm not really sure which one, but my gut says with tones like Dijon that Dandelion might be more in the direction of what this palette is giving. Look at the eye swatches makes me want to switch the mustard to a more true mustard yellow, and then go with this slightly more grungy and less bright green matte. Oh, I jumped the gun. Green matte was not next. It's down here. Okay. Well, we'll see. You know, if you've been around here before, I tend to change my mind quite a bit as this process goes on, but we're gonna go with that for now. Since I'm already on the green front, I'm just gonna go ahead and pick a green shimmer. Now the green shimmer in this palette looks like it could be something like Celesta, which goes more green to gold. Although Celesta is very gold comparatively. I also think the namesake in Codon could work. I also think that some of the shimmers in Escape Pod could work. And this color feels more sparkly and sheer. Like, I'm always drawn to Limelight, which to me goes more green than gold up here. But the formula feels more textural, like some of these bottom swatches. I actually feel like the way it's tricky because it looks like it has some depth to it, so maybe not as sheer as this Divina shadow. This is Rainbow Blossom, which I think is too blue. Yeah. This is Celesta from Divina. This is Saturnalia, and this is Galactigala. I know that this is not technically a single, but I'm gonna go with Saturnalia because it's giving me enough green, but also texture and a little bit of gold. A little bit. There are definitely a lot of single shadows though out there that would do the ticket in this spot. From Orion and Celesta to Limelight to even Prismatic would be beautiful in this palette because there are some blues in this palette. So, you know, don't think that Escape Pod is the only way to get some beautiful green shimmers. So the next color up I just want to go ahead and do is the Periwinkle shade that is on this row, because since we jumped around, I'm just continuing to jump around. This is another tricky one for me because I'm slightly confused because I know of Lethal Altitude as a popular periwinkle, and I swear I have that, but I don't know where it is. So the shadows that pop out to my head are Lethal Sequence, Menagerie Ice Cap. Is it Ice Cap? It's from Pastel Pup. Possibly Watery Grave from Lethal is Dead. Or even this other shadow from the Escape Pod. Okay, So Watery Grave, which is on my index finger, is gonna get nixed because it's already looking too blue. The color that feels the most periwinkle to me, the color that feels the most true to the palette is this one from Kaleidos. This is Exoplanet. It's not my favorite formula to work with, but it is more true to the color story. So I think I'm gonna go with that one. Although Sequence is a close runner-up here. The color that lives up here is this peach tone, and the brand describes it as a peach with pink and blue sparkles. But if I'm being honest, the color that came to mind first when I saw it swatched is ACI 7 from Plain Jane, the original Plain Jane. It is peach, and I always think of it as peach to green, but it does have some blue pink sparkles happening there. I do have a bunch of iridescent shadows I can compare and see. Gloaming is also a competitor. Gloaming does so much beautiful sparkle and texture. So even though I was very called to ACI 7, I think I'm gonna go with Gloaming. Okay, great, cool. We are getting there. So another color that I felt like I kind of knew right away about is, let's see, Luna, which is a blue-purple shimmer. And I really feel like Tower from Cleona is the answer, because it is this like turquoise blue to purple color, which ties in with a bunch of other colors in the palette. We'll quickly do some swatches just to compare, but you know, me and my preferences. I actually even think Crystalline from Cleona, one of the round pan shadows, would be a beautiful option, but I think I'm sticking with my gut and going with Tower. There is one more shimmer that we can find before we move on to the last couple of mattes, and that is this like warm purple with a pinky base to it. So I thought about Escape Pod again, and then ACI 11 right here, and this purple, which I think is from Cleona again. So something with this palette that I've noticed is that the arm swatches look much more impactful, and then the eye swatches look more like textural, glittery shadows. So I'm trying to find a balance between those two things as I'm picking shimmers, if you can't tell. So this is Cosmic Cabaret. This is Panacea from Cleona. And then one that popped into my head is Skyla from Divina, which is much more red than the others. And that is Medieval from Cleona. And the point of this is that when I was looking at the eye swatches, I was seeing a lot more pink in there than purple, or a mix of pink and purple. And so I was kind of hoping I could find that. I don't think I really have an exact match, so I'm going with Cosmic Cabaret. I don't know. It's like the most pinky rosy based without going to like bright red or this more bronzy tone. Yeah, we'll go with that. You know what? I lied. I'm gonna go with Abrasion. It's not as true purple, but it has like the pinky toned and it has the sparkle. I don't know. I'm just feeling it. So the last two shades we are looking for are a matte turquoise and this matte like smoky purple. I think either, let's see, Scuba Diver from Sydney Grace. That one might just be my choice. It's pretty bright, but like the eye swatch looked a little blue and a little turquoise, and I feel like some of the other colors I have are brighter and more turquoise or more green. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling Scuba Diver. I'm just gonna go with that. And Smoky Purple, like, it feels more cool toned, but also deep. There's like this color from the Viseart Violet Entendu. There are purples from Lethal. I actually think this Viseart color is the one. I don't know if it's quite as cool toned as the palette, but I don't feel like I have, like if I had a deeper version of this color from Lethal could work, but the purple feels deeper than that one. So I'm gonna stick with this Viseart one. So that is my finished palette. actually swatched out, I feel pretty good about this palette. I feel pretty good about this dupe. I feel like I got some of the shifts, some of the textures. I don't know. What do y'all think? I know hand swatches may not be as lovely as arm swatches, but when it comes to this kind of thing, I'm not the best. Now, I'm gonna do this thing that I love to do, which is make this palette more me. Yeah, we're gonna do that. So I'm just gonna speed it up because I don't feel like talking through more. We're gonna speed it up. I'm gonna show you what I do, and then I would love to hear from y'all. I mean, we'll talk after I'm done. Okay. So how I adjusted this for myself is I ended up taking out the lethal yellow and brought in this yellow from Colored Raine Lemon Drop that I really love. And I changed the dark brown to that Dijon because I felt like that's more of the grungy tones I was looking for. I felt like the black doesn't really add anything to the color story, so I switched it to a deep navy that can still deepen up, but it's not black. I also switched the turquoise to petrichor because this is also a color that can deepen up and get really smoky, but it can also blend out and get softer. It also blends into this yellow really beautifully, so I can make a bright green. I ended up switching the bright periwinkle to this lethal sequence just because I feel like that's a formula I'm going to enjoy working with more, and I feel like this tone kind of works with these purples a little better. And I switched Saturnalia to Patina. I love Saturnalia, but I love the shift of Patina. And having gloaming in here gives me texture, so I could make a textural green eye look if I wanted. Let me swatch the new color story out for you. Okay, I am feeling this color story. I am super feeling it. I am really happy that I revamped it because, I mean, yes, is this like a textural rainbow in a way? Sure. Is it fucking beautiful? Yes. And it's like similar but different. And I didn't even realize how much this navy could blend with this to get a brighter tone like I had. Okay, I'm gonna stop here because I have smushed everything on this table. It's a mess. I'm covered in eyeshadow, and I'm actually really into this version. Let me know, did you prefer the original kind of dupe version or this new one? I'll have both on the screen so you can see them. But wait. So, I went through the whole process. I made the palette and then I revamped it to suit me. And then I turned off the camera and then I revamped it a little more. I can't help myself and I'm indecisive. So here's the situation. I decided that I would switch this shade. This shade is called Aquila. It's from Divina. So originally I had Tower, which is a pastel multi-chrome from Cleona Cosmetics. Aquila is a similar color shift, but it's a more textured yet sheer shadow. So I felt like in the scope of the shimmers that I had, I wanted some that were more textured, some that were more shiny smooth, and so I felt like this balanced out a bit more. I also switched Abrasion for Royalty, which is also a Cleona shadow. I wasn't totally vibing with the warm purple with the rest of the color story. Like the periwinkle matte didn't really make sense with any of the shimmers that were in the palette. And then because I switched the black to a navy, like I felt like I could build a very periwinkle look, but I needed a shimmer to go with it. So I'm actually incredibly happy with this second alteration because I get a little more texture. I also get to use a shadow that I haven't really used a lot of. I also don't use Tower a lot, but I I wanted to show this one some love. Whereas like all of the Cliona shimmers in here, I love. Like, is this glimmer? Is it glimmer? Is it glimmer or is it glint? No, gloaming. That's what it is. Gloaming and patina and royalty and vermilion. Like, those are... I love them. And I have matte formulas that I really enjoy from Lethal and from Dandelion and even some old Color Raine Vivid Pigments and then Viseart Natasha Denona. And like, could you actually buy this palette out of singles? Not technically, but whatever. This is my channel. I do what I want. What I'm going to do, even though I know it's different from my arm swatches, I'm going to do hand swatches of the last version. So you have them, so I have them for posterity's sake. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. But like, come on. How fucking beautiful is this palette? I am so into it. The way the matte and royalty like align in color, the way this turquoise meshes with the turquoise matte, but also has purple, which I cannot show you. Why is it not shifting? Whatever. I'm trying. I don't know. It's been a long day filming, but I'm so into this. And even the matte purple up here that's more warm, I still think would go if I used it in this eye look. Like, I am feeling it. I'm really enjoying the first look I did with this palette. The footage of this look is in this video. I'm not sure if I put it before now or if I'm putting it at the end. Totally inspired by Lauren May Beauty and how she adds, you know, eyeshadow footage in there. But like, oh, Oh, did I also mention I did this eye look on camera? So we're going to show you how this eye look came together. another reminder for myself and for others that sometimes we have a great collection already at our fingertips. And yes, shop away, my beauties. But also, in case you're craving something and maybe you buy it, but even the pre-orders just taking a little too much time for you, you can always dupe it out. And you never know what your creativity might make, because for me, for my tastes, hold on, let's zoom out a little bit more. For me, for my taste, for my preferences, this palette, like, might exceed anything I could imagine the Glaminatrix Nocturnal palette to do for me. I will be watching for reviews. I will be watching videos on that palette. But for now, success. And let me know in the comments if you enjoyed these kinds of videos, if you feel like this palette was a successful duping the vibes moment, and let me know how you would adjust the palette to make it more you, because the original version is so pretty, but this one, for me, this is a winner. Okay, I'm gonna gloat off camera, okay? Because I feel like I've been gloating in just how much I love this, which is fine, because we all deserve time to gloat. Anyway, most importantly, first of all, if you outro time. Outro time. A reminder, if you're not yet subscribed and you enjoy this, you enjoy colorful makeup, you enjoy these kinds of Duping the Vibes videos, to subscribe. Perhaps check out my description box for other ways to support me. But most importantly, take care of yourself better today than you did yesterday, because you are worth it. Bye, friends.